After a double dip in the United States, it is time to head across the Pacific to one of the most storied racetracks in the world. Welcome, everyone, to the CrowdStrike Racing League and Mount Panorama, or as it is more colloquially known, Bathurst. In a preview of what will be happening in a few weeks' time here at the CrowdStrike Racing League, we get ready to send GT cars around the mountain. One of the most perilous, treacherous, and difficult tracks in all of the world, but one that always produces absolutely spectacular racing. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream. My name is DJ Clark. Delighted to be joined by Kyle Heyer up here in the booth. And Kyle, this is one we always circle on the calendar. This is always one that we look forward to. It is equal part absolutely fantastic, easy to overtake, and equal parts difficult as all can be and treacherous as none other.
Yeah, racing up the mountain is one thing, racing down it is a whole different thing. This is an amazing racetrack. It's technically a street course, but by not a lot of technical definitions, I'd say. Mount Panorama, Bathurst, Australia, of course, the 12-hour race we'll have here later this month kind of really gets the racing season started for us in many places as far as the SRO community goes. But racing here in GT3 cars for round 3 of this CrowdStrike Cup Virtual Racing League with drivers from CrowdStrike, from AWS, and friends and family in the SRO community. DJ, this is a great series, and we're kind of getting to the apex of the championship with only 2 rounds left after this. So it's go time for those in the championship hunt.
Yeah, it very much is, and those 2 next races, by the way, will be Suzuka and Brands Hatch. A little bit of a different track to end the season. Going to be absolutely fantastic to check that out. As we look at Mount Panorama right now, there it is, the crests of this circuit. Taking a look at it from above, you start off going into the apt-named Hell Corner, a 90-degree left, then down the mountain straight, and then up through Griffin's Bend, and that, Kyle, is when the difficulty just starts.
Yeah, absolutely. You head up into the cutting. That's a very challenging section where you have to kind of slow the car and make it go left as hard as you can on the climb up the hill. Then you're going to head over through McPhillamy Park and then down into the Dipper. Over the crest, you're going to see that horizon in the far distance, down through the quick squiggles and miss those concrete walls, then down to Forest Elbow and head up onto the Conrod Straight. And you'll be using all those Conrods on the way down to the Chase, which might be your best passing opportunity around this track.
Yeah, it certainly will be a little bit difficult because of the jink to the right there, and that sometimes can set up a little bit of difficulty when you get down into that left-hander and then finally bring it down through Murray's Corny. By the way, the squiggles is officially what I'm going to be calling that section of the track from here on out. I really quite like that.
Yeah, you like the technical terminology there, but cars are on the racetrack, and we are about ready to put down some qualifying times here, DJ. This is an important type of session here for these drivers here this evening because you only got 7 minutes to put down a time. There are over 30 entrants here today, and with that, this is a challenging racetrack to make passes, so if you start up front, you have an easier time staying there.
Yeah, exactly, and we talked about it in the intros. We watched Connor Williamson for Team WRT working his way down through. Ooh, having a little bit of an off there and making contact with the barriers coming through Murray's Corner. But, you know, there's a couple of places to overtake on this circuit, but now as we ride on board Aaron Puckett as he makes his way through the cutting, this is the part of the track where you're not going to be able to make any passes. When you come up and down this mountain, it is strictly follow the leader. You are not going to be in a position to pass. You are not going to be in a position to put those drivers in front of you into an overtake. And so the farther you are up in the field, the better chances you're going to have to be able to hold on to that position. The other big thing to keep in mind there is if there's an off coming up through this section of the track, it may cascade through the rest of the field, and we may see drivers stack up behind them.
Yeah, if you hit the wall on one side, you're almost certainly going to hit it on the other side as well. Ping-ponging left and right, down into Forest Elbow, and then that will turn you back up onto the back straightaway, the Conrad Straight. Speeds climbing here north of 170, 180 miles an hour. In the draft here, especially leading into the Chase, hard on the brakes here, DJ. So many times have we seen drivers miss their braking point, and though they have anti-lock brakes, they sometimes end up in the gravel there and end up at the back of the field.
Yeah, exactly. And remember how those ABS brakes work. I mean, it's a very rapid release and clamping of the braking mechanism. And if you get that wrong as it tries to prevent the car from locking, it may not be as necessarily hard as you need it to be. And so that can send him around. Puckett, though, coming down through Murray's corner right now at this point. Let's see what he's got. Kicking up a lot of dirt there in front of him. Puckett's going to cross over the line. That'll be P4. It's Pfeiffer leading the way. Burleson and Kavanaugh, your top three. Unsurprising, all the pros up on top.
Yeah, we have a Pro Am championship, and as far as the Pro Series standings, it's Hamza Gulzar at the top of the order right now. That it's followed by Josh Staffen, 51 points for Gulzar, 43 for Staffen. Aaron Puckett is third in those Pro standings. Luke Pfeiffer right behind. He's currently second, by the way, in qualifying provisionally in that Audi Team WRT car. As far as the AM title goes, still very much in the air. It's Alexandru Terzan in the number 88 McLaren. He's got 53 points to Ben Armstrong's 44. Then a bit, we're ways back, 36 points for Mads Fabricus Schmidt. So both championships still within the balance here, as we've still got 2 rounds coming up, and those 2 rounds are Suzuka on February 17th and Brands Hatch on March 9th, DJ.
Yeah, exactly. And those are going to be very different circuits when we talk about them and how they're going to run. Both very difficult, very challenging circuits, but Brands Hatch going to be a lot like, frankly, the middle section of this Bathurst circuit, where it's going to be very, very difficult to get an overtake done. A bit of flashing yellow there as we watch Luke Pfeiffer coming down through the last couple of corners now through Forest Elbow. And to the surprise of no one, it's Hamza Gulzar up on the top of the charts. Love that team name there for him. Help me.
Well, I don't think he needs any help right now. He's got an Aston Martin Vantage. This is the old the DB 09, the older 07. It's one of the older cars.
I believe it's the DB9.
DB9. 09. That's a technical term. But as he heads off into the uphill here towards the cutting, this is one of those older GT3 cars. It'd be one that you could see in North America, as far as the GT America powered by AWS Championship, allowing some of the older homologations to run in the series. But Hamza using this car, maybe the help me team designation is because he's using an older car and hoping that that one will do the trick for him today. It's certainly not hurting for pace.
It's not hurting for pace, but what he does need help is getting by some of the cars as they come up and through the parks there. That was right at about Solman Park. Very, very sketchy situation to be put in, and that is exactly what I'm talking about when we talk about running up and over this hill. If you come up against a car that is a lapped car or that is significantly off the pace as compared to you, it is a waiting game. You cannot attack coming over the mountain. You have got to stay in line, otherwise you are going to have an absolute heart-in-mouth moment, much like we saw Hamza just have.
Yeah, he's going to get a great run here on this BMW just ahead of him. Some slipstream, but now it's going to hold him up as he looks to the right. That's a bit of an awkward change of direction there, and now it's a drag race up Conrad Straight here in qualifying. Zach Coonan goes to the top with a 2-minute .922 second lap time. Gulzar needs to go quicker, but he's off by about 4 seconds from his quick time due to that issue that he had at the top of the hill.
Yeah, and that's what that slowdown up the top of the hill can do. Pfeiffer, by the way, completely content with his running. He's going to dive down into pit lane. It's Zach Coonan that now stands on the top of the charts. Drivers will be able to finish their hot lap here. So if they, with Hamza crossing over here with about 2 minutes left to go, he should be able to get probably 2 more laps in, depending on if he's able to put down a sub 2:01 time. Going to cross over the line there at that point with 2:05 left on the clock. That's plenty of time to make this work.
Yeah, he's going to have to get a pretty decent lap time on this lap, though, to make it back to the stripe. How about Justin Picorni in the number 425 McLaren as he heads down through Forest Elbow? Nice shiny green livery on this car. Great qualifying effort there. But the top 11 are all Pro Class cars. The first of the AM Class cars is in pit lane. That's Andy Edwards. Simon Hem Peterson, though, second in AM in that brand new Ferrari 296 GT3. He's P2 as far as the AM Championship is concerned in qualifying here in that number 18.
Yeah, and I think is there. Peterson's going to have a little bit of a squirrel coming through the chase. And as we talked about there, when is the cutoff here when we can stop calling this Ferrari new? Because it has been around for a season at this point. It still feels like the new fresh toy that's coming out. Obviously, some new models being revamped and put out into the world this year as well across the rest of the field. Lots of Evos coming out, lots of little generational tweaks to the cars. But yeah, Ferrari is soon going to be old hat.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you bring that up. I consider it new when you compare it to Hamza Golzar's car for sure. But as far as its history and its prowess, it's already proving that it's a very, very quick and reliable race car. And I think it will have its place in history, just like all the models that came before it. As cars head up the Conrad Straight, there's Golzar again, currently about a 10th down in his best time. Someone who's up in the green, though, Ian Burleson in the number 720 McLaren. He's at the top of the hill right now. You see that white flag for slow-moving vehicle. And wow, look at that thing just skid down the hill, a little too hot, and he's going to be into the barriers.
Oh, and there he goes, Burleson, in a big coming together there. Not what he wanted to have happen for him. 10 seconds left on the clock here for these drivers. Bill Strobel going to finish this last lap right there, going to try to improve from 9th position. And
Strobel accelerates up the Conrad Straight, 4/10 up on his lap. Golzar has bailed out on his effort here. Checkered flag will wave, and we'll get 3 minutes for drivers to complete the laps that they're on. Winston Workman is also up in the green. He's got a lot of lap to complete, though, as he's still climbing up the mountain through the cutting in his McLaren 720. I've seen a lot of McLarens, a lot of Ferraris. The mid-engine cars seem to be the weapon of choice here today on the mountain.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like that is the case here at that point. As we watch on board Workman here at this point. Love the sound of this McLaren. One of my favorite sounds. It just sounds quintessentially British. It's not too aggressive. It's not overly angry. Whoa! But speaking of over-aggressive, I'm going to be a little bit careful there coming over Skyline.
Yeah, this is a great race car. It sounds awesome. That twin-turbo V8 screaming behind Workman in the cockpit here. Slowing it down a little bit too quick there. He's going to burn some speed on the straightaway because of that slow exit, but great looking swoopy car, as we always say. There's a good look at the Lexus, by the way, in the background. Looks like we got Tan driving that car again, Julius Tan. Well, that's not him. That's one of the two Lexuses, or Lexi. I think there's at least another one that's out there. And I think it's Cray, Jonathan Cray in the 17. Well, there must be at least three. There's a handful of them in here.
Yeah, there are a few of them here at this point. So Craig going to try to bring that car along. Checkered flag is out in the air. Drivers will have another minute and 38 seconds to finish their lap. Hamza Golzar looks like he is going to be trying to go. Oh, that's going to be a little bit sketchy. Pushing onto the grass there at that point.
He's up in the green by a 10th, but his best is almost 4/10 short of Zach Coonan's. Actually, more than 4/10 short, so he's going to need a miracle here, and it's not going to come in the form of the BMW ahead of him here as they slide through the chase. Golzar's time, that will have to go in the garbage. Down a 10th now, that won't be good enough to get him pole. Zach Coonan in the number 15 Lexus will be good enough for pole. How about that?
Hey, there you go. We haven't said those words in a while, that the Lexus is on top. I guess that straight line speed coming up Mountain Straight and down Conrad are certainly going to be helping them out here at this point.
Yeah, certainly. That's an interesting revelation, I'd say, to see the Lexus as quick as that. But about to be race time here in just a couple moments here, DJ. Before we get going, we have to talk about the race distance. It will be a 40-minute race. This place is all about risk versus reward.
Yeah, it really and truly is. And again, you've got to know where to take those risks and know where you're able to do it. Coming up and down the hill, that's where you've got to be cautious, Kyle. You've got to hold back there around those parts of the track. When you get onto the straights, when you get down into the chase, Murray's Corner, Hell's Corner, those parts of the track, that's when you start to be aggressive and really get your elbows out. For the rest of the circuit, it's follow the leader and it's mitigate those mistakes that you're going to be making. Well,
they always say, to finish first, you must first finish. And this probably is one of the racetracks that everybody circles and says, yeah, you got to finish this race. And that in itself is a survival concept. But with 40 minutes on the board here, we're going to start in the early morning. How do you think the conditions changing are going to affect the cars as we complete this 40-minute event?
Well, I think at the beginning, we're going to see a big situation where drivers are going to have to worry about those tire temperatures, particularly, as we always say, through the danger zone, coming up and over the hill. We'll expect a lot of weaving coming down the Conrad Straight, expect a lot of drivers trying to generate as much heat, as much warmth into those tires as they can, because you want the full efficacy of grip when you come up and over the hill. If you are losing a little bit of grip, we saw some drivers have some problems up through the cutting. if you're just a little bit down on grip, you're going to find yourself losing positions. You're going to find yourself an inch or two off of the apex because the car is not going to be able to turn at the apex nearly as much as you want it to. And normally, you talk about an inch or two off the apex, that's no problem. But when you've got walls virtually 6 inches away from you, that's a different matter entirely.
I just took a look at the weather. 15 degrees Celsius in the air and on the racetrack. That converts to just under 60 degrees Fahrenheit. That is a very cold racetrack, and it will take the Pirellis a lap of warming to get them into that optimal zone. Once they're there, they should be nice and sticky, but B-roll aside, this is the conditions we've got to start with. It's nice and clear, but it's very early in the morning, 6 o'clock a.m., in fact, here in Assetto Corsa Competizione. So this is going to be a very important warm-up and pace lap here.
Yeah, very, very crucial, and it will be a full pace lap for these drivers, so they will be able to get everything together as they try to go. What I really love here, look at the top 5 here, Kyle. Lexus, Aston, Audi, McLaren, Ferrari. Add the Porsche there in 7th place. We've got some good disparity. I'm a little bit surprised, though, that the likes, or maybe I shouldn't be necessarily as surprised because I'm about to make this point, but the BMW and the Mercedes, normally 2 of the more popular cars that we see, a little bit farther in the order. I wonder if that's maybe because of that front engine design. We often talk about the choice of that layout, that a little bit more understeer on those cars, it makes them a little bit more predictable. That understeer nonetheless could be a tough run to handle up and over the hill.
Yeah, this is going to be a challenge for those cars, I'd say. I mean, I want the power down the back straightaway. That BMW is not known for being any sort of slouch on those long runs down the straights. But looking down the order, a vast majority of these cars are the mid-engine layout, whether it's the Ferrari or the McLaren. And there's a couple of outliers there. That Aston Martin Vantage up on the front row there with Hamza Golzar. There's a couple of the Porsche 911 GT3 R992s. Those are always cars to watch at every round. There's an Audi there, Luke Pfeiffer in 3rd. But there's only, looks like, one Mercedes AMG in the top 24, and there's also a Nissan GTR Nismo GT3 that Tyler Reed's got.
Yeah, love to see that for Reed. I love seeing that Nissan out on the track. And let us correct ourselves, by the way. We speculated that it may have been a DB9 earlier. That is our mistake. It is actually still an Aston Martin Vantage. So same model, quote unquote, that we see today in SRO Motorsports competition. The difference is that Aston Martin behind the wheel of Hamza Golzar, that is the V12 variant. It was re-homologated with the V8 that you see running today. Yeah,
it's got slightly lower bodywork, I think, as well. That is confusing to me, but I came into GT3 racing a bit later, so I think that's my excuse, is it wasn't all that old. So, anyway, cars are rolling up towards the uphill and the cutting. That leads you to McPhillamy Park and around the bend and then down the hill. See that all that tire weaving and warming happening here without the sun beating down on the racetrack. The only temperature these Pirellis are going to have is coming from this tire warming process. And how about that very neat, tidy split from 13th on back with Rodrigo Nunes, your front-running driver in the AM category in that 777 McLaren.
Yeah, it makes things a little bit easier for us to call. I'll tell you who it's going to be very, very tough for. That's the number 22 here of Collins, running back in 19th place, finds him right in the meat of that field for the AM competitors, Jack Collins. And remember the rules here when it comes to the multi-class racing. These AM competitors are not obligated to get out of the way here for Jack Collins. Collins is going to have to do this the old-fashioned way to try to get on by. It's going to be very, very difficult to try to get his way up to what will be 7 positions in front to Zaruda in 13th.
Yeah, it looks like Octon has got some work to do as well. Jason Octon in the 204, starting 26th overall. Jack Collins is running that, now I would consider it famous, CrowdStrike livery that he's got in the Mercedes AMG GT3. Remember that CrowdStrike is the official internet cloud security provider of SRO Motorsports America and AWS. And all 3 of those companies have kind of a triangular relationship where CrowdStrike is protecting AWS and SRO, while SRO gives CrowdStrike an opportunity to present the product and get some cars out on the racetrack. Of course, George Kurtz competing in some of the world's most famous endurance races, and he'll be back again this season. We should expect to see him do another endurance race at the tail end of the year in the Indianapolis 8-hour presented by AWS. So all very exciting things. Great looking livery on this number 20 for Jack Collins. But all that aside, Zach Coonan in the number 15 Lexus will lead us to green here once we finish this pace lap. So it'll be a Lexus and an Aston on the front row. Row 2 is Audi and McLaren. Row 3, Ferrari, McLaren. Row 4, Porsche and Aston Martin. Row 5, Bill Strobel and Martin Lassen in a McLaren and a Ferrari. The first of the front engine cars, save for the Lexus and Aston on the front row, is Vlad Dola back there in 11th place.
Yep, there they go, Dola in that number 55 BMW. Now, the other thing to keep in mind here is they're about to get their way into the cutting. We do have a very large field here, and that means that a chunk of this field, that wasn't great. I think that was Picorni there that we saw going off into the dirt in that McLaren. Wonder if that was just a little lapse in judgment, maybe reaching for a bottle of water before we get started, something of that nature, and that puts them off.
Yeah, also could have been warming up the tires too aggressively. We mentioned how cold the track is, under 60 degrees Fahrenheit. It's not inconceivable that it stepped out on him, and that is a clear indicator that this first lap is going to be very, very exciting. 40 minutes on the mountain here at Bathurst, Australia. And Zach Coonan in that Lexus is going to be the first one to experience the conditions, so he better have a light hand on the steering wheel. Brake lights glowing red, headlights glowing golden amber here as we head down towards the final corner and get set for 40 minutes in the CrowdStrike Cup Virtual Racing League, round 3 of 5 here at Mount Panorama. DJ, take it away as they come down the hill towards that start-finish.
Zachary Coonan starting to get a little bit faster. They've got to wait for the drop of the green flag. There is no jumping it here at this point. Hamza Golgazar giving him a little bit of space as all eyes now turn towards the flag stand, getting ready for the signal. And there goes the green. We are racing here from Mount Panorama. It's a very neat and orderly getaway. I saw Vlad Dola switch to the outline a little bit farther back in the field. The top 3 single file themselves. As we look back farther on, Andy Edwards right now. Oh, big calamity coming through Murray's.
Oh, and one of the cars involved is that number 20 that we pointed out earlier, and this is disaster for some of the drivers at the tail of the field. I think Jason Octon got through it. Yes, he did in that Trace 3 car, but there's a whole bunch of cars left back there at the exit of turn 1, and Jack Collins is one of them, unfortunately.
Yeah, he finds himself down the order there a little bit. He kind of got ping-ponged around a little bit coming through Hell Corner. Meanwhile, back up at the front of the field, Zachary Coonan, Hamza Golzar working their way through the cutting for the first time. Big squiggle for Coonan as the rear end wanted to step out at him there at that point, just showing you the treacherous conditions here with this 15 degrees Celsius temperature.
Yeah, that's like what I said. He's the first driver to experience it at speed, so you have to figure it out very, very quickly. Coonan over the crest here at McPhillamy Park, now down towards Skyline, and watch out for that curve on the right. It can get you over the crest and down the hill in the rising sun.
And this is one of the best vantages in all of GT racing, coming down through the dipper as cars plunge their way down through the circuit here at this point. Zachary Coonan leading the way and building up a gap here over Golzar. Fadfer there in 3rd place. Looked like he's pushing pressure to the back of that V12 Aston Martin as they come off the corner. Now Picorni may be able to come into it. Here's Andy Edwards getting things a little bit wrong, coming through Forrest Elbow.
Yeah, the front runners have gotten away nice and clean. Here's Edwards in that 21 second to Ben Armstrong. The reason I bring up this car in particular, Armstrong, he is 2nd in the AM Championship coming into the night next to Alexandru Terzan. I have not seen Terzan. Oh, yes, he is back in 31st place in his McLaren, so this could be a change of the balance as far as the AM Championship is concerned between these 2 cars, so it's go time for Terzan in particular in that 88, but he's got a long way to go.
Yeah, a long way to go also here for Nunez, as it looks like he's going to come down into pit lane at this point. I think that car is officially retired, a result of all of that battling that we saw in the contact that we saw coming down through this corner 1 lap ago. Zachary Coonan, Forward Tech 1 Racing, continues to lead. Drivers coming off of Hell Corner in the background. The BMW of Armstrong got a little bit squirrely, going to lose a position to Zaruda as they run, but still has enough breathing room over Martin Lassens to be able to hold on to what will be 11th place.
Aaron Puckett just ahead in the number 7. He's a driver to keep an eye on as well. We've got Bill Clark in the Pink Pig, as he always seems to run, and here he is on board. We'll ride with him as he climbs up the mountain here.
Yeah, and this is a live look at him. Going to take a look down to the inside of Burleson as Burleson and Picorni trying to fight themselves out in front. Careful, boys. We talked about how difficult it is to go side by side up and over the mountain. Let's see if they're able to do anything here as we watch. You can see him, a little bit of the sim racer's lean there at that point, trying to get himself correct through the corners.
That was a very tense moment between Burleson and Picorni. They touched a big slide for Burleson. I think that's Picorni just ahead in the metallic green car. See Bill Clark unwind the wheel here, then watch the downshifts and the braking, bit of dirt. He's going to cut the downhill.
Yeah, and you can see just that little bit of grimace, tries to catch it, and the car goes sideways. The pink pig is in the wall.
Oh, that is a bad, bad place to be stuck to. He might have to sit here. Yellow flags are out on the downhill, no passing, but what can you do here? You're just going to have to try to stay out of the way as here comes the rest of the field. This is disaster for Strobel, or Clark rather.
Yeah, it really and truly is, but I've got to commend him here at this point. How easy would it be to get that car in reverse, try to get it out onto the track, and in doing so, create a track blockage? This is good, respectful racing here for the number 92. You hate to see it happen, but you love to see the way that he was able to do it. Oh, that's going to be contact there into the rear, maybe messing up that rear wing a little bit.
Did a great job staying out of the way, but that will cost him tons of time on the racetrack. Coonan is going to finish lap number 2 here as he crosses the stripe, 35 minutes to go. Golzar still hot in pursuit there. Luke Pfeiffer in third in the Audi, just behind the rear wing of the Aston. Then it's Daniel Kavanaugh, the 94, running fourth in the Ferrari. Kind of a 3-car breakaway here at the front, though.
Yeah, kind of a 3-car breakaway starting to form as it looks like Kavanaugh, who's 1.5 seconds back in this battle. But here comes Golzar going for the lead of the race. They're going to be side by side down the mountain straight. Golzar hoping to carry more momentum around the outside. The Lexus there of Coonan going to try to hold it out, but Golzar shuts the door.
Where did he come from? He just made that pass look so easy, so quickly. Through Hell Corner and up to the mountain. Got to Griffin Curve and just went right by him there. Third place is Pfeiffer. He's on top of Coonan, so that was a great opportunistic pass by Golzar. Now the mission goes from passing to staying up front.
Well, and we know the pace that Golzar has, so I'm not exactly surprised to see him get himself into this position here as he runs. And look at this, already a gap of 4.5 tenths of a second. I think Pfeiffer's the one that really needs to try to push ahead here at this point, and he is going to be held back. That Audi, remember, that is the car that should be the best through this section of the track. That mid-engine design, really able to get it to rotate through the corners effectively, and he's probably getting held up here a little bit by that front-engine Lexus just up the road from him.
Yeah, very low to the ground, sleek-looking car as well. Should be able to draft fairly decently off the tail of that Lexus. That's a big car. Should punch a fairly sizable hole in the air. So the front three have traded positions now. Golzar takes the top spot, all the while behind them. It's a bit of a battle between Rasmus Larsen and Vlad Dola. That number 55 again is... Oh, and this is Larsen around at the top of the hill here at Skyline.
Oh, that's the Sky Tempesta racing machine here at this point. That McLaren spun around just before Skyline. Let's take a look at the replay, see what happened. Tried to go around the outside, carried too much speed, and you said it yourself. Coming up over McPhillamy Park, that is a big-time danger zone on this track.
Yeah, just kind of stepped out sideways on him, and that was kind of a peculiar moment, I think, to have a slide. But, you know, you just kind of get stuck here. Same position that we saw Bill Clark in on the downhill. You just can't move here. This is such a high-speed area of the racetrack. Had he pulled back on the racetrack, that could have been bad news for everybody involved. Back live now, though, as Golzar puts half a second on Coonan, and we're almost 10 minutes into this race.
Almost 10 minutes in here at this point. And Coonan, credit where credit's due. I thought Pfeiffer in that Audi was really going to close up to him, but it looks like he's able to hold it at bay. But look at this from Kavanaugh. That little purple designator there over the number 4. That means he just set the fastest lap of the race in that number 94 Ferrari. We talked about a gap starting to grow between 3rd and 4th. Well, Kavanaugh heard our plea and said, nuh-uh, I'm pushing ahead.
Yeah, nice looking car too, this kind of golden Ferrari. Looks a whole lot like cars we've seen in other championships across the world with those the gold colors and the Hertz logos on the side. But now through the McPhillamy Park area into Skyline here, and this Ferrari just squats and just goes. And 7 tenths back from Pfeiffer right now. We'll keep an eye on this gap, but that Ferrari is definitely coming forward.
Yeah, it certainly is. Only about 7.5 tenths of a second, the gap between himself and Pfeiffer, but Pfeiffer's going to have a pretty big gap here, or a pretty big draft here at this point, as look at the compression for the top 3. And also, let's not count out Burleson from behind here as well. He's starting to close in. Here is Coonan on board right now, and the Tech 1 racing machine trying to close down on that V12 Aston in front of him.
Yeah, he's making pretty good progress, kind of recapturing Golzar here on the straightaways. Listen to that Lexus V8 scream. Now onto the binders into the chase. A little bit of a wobble there from Coonan, but keeps it tucked up under Golzar's rear wing, and I think this battle might be on for more than a lap or 2. And by the way, track temp is up a degree, so as the sun comes up, we can expect the track temps to change wildly. And then what car is the dominant one of this front 5?
Yeah, exactly. That's going to change things up here in a big, big way. What those track temperatures end up being. Kunin, though, trying to be able to hold off on Pfeiffer right now. Pfeiffer looking pretty strong there. Let's go back a little bit farther in the field. Vladola having a problem down through Forest Elbow.
Yeah, this is another driver that I thought we'd see move forward very quickly, but he was already in the tire bundles and was just stuck here. This is a weird spot to go off, DJ. Wish I could have gotten the start of that incident, but he ended up nose on into the tire bundles. Everyone heeding the yellow flags and not causing a bigger incident, but it will cost him a ton of time.
Yeah, this is going to be a big, big drop in position there for Vladola. Look at that. There's damage on the left-hand side of the car. Not entirely sure what that is from, but yeah, we're not entirely sure what could have caused that, but maybe a little bit of how you doing there between himself and another driver. Meanwhile, Hamza Golzar trying to stretch the gap up at the front of the field. It's up to 0.7 of a second.
Yeah, I think he felt the pressure from Kunin and realized he had to go because that Lexus was coming back at him pretty quickly. So he has set the afterburners alight, and he is now driving off into the distance here. Bit of a battle beginning to formulate back for, what is this, 9th or 10th place? Ben Armstrong in the CrowdStrike liveried BMW has Martin Lassen behind him in that green Ferrari. And Armstrong is leading in the AM class. This wouldn't be for a class position, but if Lassen were to get there, who knows if Andy Edwards could close that gap as well and make a battle for the lead in AM a bit more of a reality here.
Yeah, and you know, we talk about this is an inter-class battle between these two different classes, but these are still race car drivers out on the track. They're going to want to push and try to go for absolutely everything they have, so it's not like they have nothing to lose here at this point. And, you know, every driver, not a lot of them want to sit out there and just run hot laps. To race is to race, and you want to be doing that. Speaking of battles here at this point, Mike Jensen from Chaotic Racing right now trying to close down on the Lamborghini of Rivera up ahead of him.
I actually almost took a second look at this because Tito Rivera is driving a Lamborghini Huracan GT3. We don't normally see a lot of these in this championship. It's great to have the naturally aspirated V10 with the Lamborghini bodywork on it back here racing. It's 15th right now with Rivera behind the wheel. Mike Jensen trying to run him down. But look at that very aggressive Lamborghini bodywork as it sails through and into the chase.
Yeah, as it works its way through into the chase right now. And, you know, one of the reasons we don't see that, it does look like there's a little bit of damage to the front of the car, unfortunately, here for Tito Rivera. But one of the reasons why that car has fallen out of favor a little bit is because, and this is confirmed from drivers in the real world as well, things like that, the rear end stepping away from you. If you drive that car, it is very, very quick, but it is constantly on a knife edge. It is constantly, I had a driver once tell me, it's not a matter of when it tries to kill, or it's not a matter of if it tries to kill you, it's a matter of when it tries to kill you.
Yeah, I think it just requires a very peculiar touch. You have to be very, very delicate with it. You can extract so much speed. We've seen these cars be incredibly dominant, but you just there's you know, a lot of precision involved with driving one. And something that the Ferrari in tow here might not require is that extreme precision, but you know, you might be trading off some things in that to get that core stability that we see, especially in cars like the Mercedes-AMG. It's known as one of the most stable cars on the GT3 racing circuit, but are you giving up some performance in some places that you would rather have it, like maybe at the end of a long straightaway? That's the beauty of GT racing, though, DJ. Courses for courses. All the cars are going to make lap time in a very similar manner as far as lap time is concerned, but they're going to make it in very different ways over the course of that lap.
Yeah, exactly, and that's where that balance of performance comes in, where we try to even everything out. But even with the BOP, you know, the idea is that you make a similar lap time. But as you said earlier, Kyle, where you make that time will be different depending on each car, and that's where the impetus comes down to you as the driver to not only know the strengths and weaknesses of your own car, but know the strengths and weaknesses of the cars around you. So for example, if you are, say, in that BMW, that car is known as being very, very quick in a straight line, but as we've said, has the tendency to be a little bit understeering. If you are an
trouble, the leader!
Contact with the leader, goes all into the wall!
Oh no, and that's going to allow Kunin to go right back by. That happened so quickly. That was a lap car. It looked like he was going to let him by, and then it just didn't happen. What car was this? It was a Lexus.
It's one of the Lexuses farther back in the field. I believe they were running in 28th position here at this point.
Jonathan Cray in the 17. is who it is. And he pulls over, jumps on the brakes. You see Golzar go around the outside here. And then, bam!
Oh, he caught the grass.
Oh.
He caught a little bit of the grass trying to do the kind and courteous thing, and I think what happened there, Kyle, is he jumped on the binders right as he hit the grass, and that caused the braking zone to change and him to skitter forward a little bit. Absolute heartbreak there for Golzar. Yeah, and there, as we take a live look at him on board, a shake of the head just to show us that is disappointment for a driver. He's still got 25 minutes to try to get this back up, though.
Yeah, could be some shake of the head, could be some shake it off at this stage, because he didn't spin the car out. He bounced off the left side of the Lexus and off the right side of the barriers, but the car is still straight and running, and it's in third place, but gave up a bunch of time to Luke Pfeiffer and Coonan. You see the differential there. Coonan in the Lexus, Pfeiffer in the Audi, and there's Golzar in the blue Aston Martin Vantage. Kavanaugh in fourth, now has a limping Aston Martin just ahead of him, but how bad is the damage? I'm not sure we'll know for a couple laps.
Well, and consider this, when we talk about the points championship here as they run, we don't have Josh Staffen here today. Josh, who is currently the second place in the championship, only about 8 points behind your leader of Hamza Golzar. Third place, Aaron Puckett, sits 11 points behind him, but Puckett is behind Golzar. So if things shake out the way they are, this isn't going to be the worst day in the world for Golzar, and I've got to imagine that's going to be playing into his calculus as well.
Absolutely. You know, you just have to, I've heard it said before that your championships are won on your bad days, not your good ones. You know, race wins will come, as we've seen Golzar get before. You'll have top fives, you'll have top tens, but when you have a finish that could be a 30th and you turn it into a 15th, those are the days that will make the difference between winning a championship and not. Ian Burleson in the 720 McLaren is hounding these two, though, as Golzar might be holding up Kavanaugh now with some damage potentially on that Aston. You see the Ferrari just completely filling the mirrors of the Aston as we climb the hill.
Well, if there is a little bit of damage on the Aston, whether it is downforce related, aerodynamically related, or whether it's suspension related, I think it's suspension related, as that was actually Golzar making contact with the wall coming through Solomon Park. I've got to imagine here that this is the part of the track when he's going to feel it. If there's mechanical damage on the car, he is not going to be able to get the good feel. And look at that, Golzar off the apex, coming down through the dipper. That car is hurting. It may not look all that out of place, but just those micro inches that we talk about coming down through the track over the hill, this is exactly the problem.
Yeah, streaming now down the Conrad Straight. Golzar definitely struggling. He's 7/10 down on his best lap. All the while, Luke Pfeiffer's up 4/10 on his, and he's running down Coonan. You see the green Audi closing in on the black Lexus at the front of the field here. Now through, heading to the chase on Conrad Straight, and I think Golzar's got definitely some suspension damage. Got hit in a bad spot and then kind of tank slapped the wall with the left side, so he got it on both ends, and see the cork beginning to hold the pressure back on the bottle here.
Yeah, really and truly is, but unfortunately that V12 Aston just looks like it's got enough straight line speed that he's able to hold Kavanaugh and Burleson at bay. But I've got to wonder here, if you are Burleson, how hard you're able to push here, maybe take advantage of that. Great camera, we see both of those battles, Coonan, Pfeiffer, Golzar, Kavanaugh, and Burleson. And then there's that other battle there behind, that's Picorni and Aaron Puckett for 5th place.
Yeah, Picorni's fallen down a couple positions from where he started in that green McLaren, but Aaron Puckett, how about this for the Trace 3 driver? He's doing a very nice job here today in his Aston Martin. This is a much newer version than the one that's running up in third right now, but a little slip from Picorni, slides, and Puckett sneaks through. How about that?
And I love that little look there from Aaron Puckett, that sort of, as he tried to get around it. But that's a position, and that's exactly what we talked about. Justin Picorni now is finding themselves farther back in the order.
In the pit lane as well, unfortunately. That might end his day as we approach the halfway point of this race. 22 minutes to go, and the battle for the lead is back on again, this time with a third entrance into the sword fight here at the front. Coonan and Pfeiffer, the top two, but Pfeiffer running him down.
Yeah, Pfeiffer running him down, trying to be able to get his way forward as he comes down the hill at this point. Again, a little bit of a difference in design philosophy here. Front engine design for the Lexus, mid-engine design for the Audi, but it looks like that Lexus is going to start to pull away a little bit here, coming out of Forest's elbow. Does look like there's a little lap track in front of him, traffic in front of him, rather.
Technically, it's lap track too.
No, that too.
It's
just,
but
you know what
the track's 8 laps down compared to the leader, technically. Hasn't moved. since the start of the green flag, that car is just going to shoot straight off the end of the track. I think that's Reed, by the way, in the lone Nissan GTR Nismo. But these two have completely separated themselves with the struggles for Golzar, so we'll have to keep our eyes on these drivers as well. Again, a reminder for those that joined us a bit late, the drivers in the white number boards are the Pro Class cars. Those in the red are the AM Class drivers. Ben Armstrong leads the way in the BMW as far as the AM Class is concerned, but Winston Workman, last time by, was 3 seconds quicker than Armstrong. He started pretty deep in the field, did Winston Workman, in the Optima Motorsport Mercedes the McLaren. Mercedes behind him is a lap car, I believe. But Workman is coming with a vengeance and might put Ben Armstrong back to second in AM pretty quickly here.
Yeah, may put him back in the order. Armstrong going to have a real workout here to try to hold him at bay. There they go, coming through. 5 seconds the gap with 20 minutes on the clock. That is not out of the realm of possibility for him to close down in. And up the back straightaway, or up the straightaway to Griffin Bend here. Here's Coonan and Pfeiffer again at the top of the mountain here, just continuing to do battle. This is very, very spicy stuff up here at the front. Look at the run. Pfeiffer's got, he's going to go for it here. No, he backs out. Oh, just over the hill at Skyline. Discretion proving the better part of Valor. I think here for Pfeiffer, that was more of a look to see if he could force Coonan offline a little bit. But look at this, the Audi absolutely hammering the back here.
Making the left-hand turn through Forest Elbow, back up onto the Conrad straight. But look at the run that the Lexus gets. That's where it does so well, is accelerating up off the corner and driving away. That car has such an advantage, I think, just leaving the slower corners where the Audi might be better at carrying speed through some of those mid-speed corners.
Yeah, I think you're right at that point. A little bit of flash of the headlights there for... Oh, that's exactly what he was trying to avoid. Lap car in the way, causing a whole world of trouble.
I think it's the same car. It is the same car as the previous issue at the front of the field. And, man, you just can't hit the disappear button, huh?
No, you really cannot. There as they go. Coonan going to be able to get his way through Murray's corner here at this point, trying to see what they are able to do. Here comes a little bit of attack from Pfeiffer.
Yeah, this is going to be a good battle here. Under 20 minutes to go. A little slip there from Coonan. And Pfeiffer's got to run side by side with lap traffic ahead. This is a good battle here. Audi versus Lexus at the front of the field.
All right, side by side as they plunge their way on the mountain straight right now. Audi to the inside for Pfeiffer. Coonan is going to be able to use the straight line grunt of that Lexus to be able to hold ahead here for the moment. Pfeiffer's going to have to try another day.
This is a really smart battle here that Pfeiffer is playing. He's going to exhaust Coonan by launching this attack. A little wide there for Coonan on the exit of the cutting. And by the way, track temp is still steady at 16°C. That's just about 60 degrees Fahrenheit, so it is still very, very cool. So the conditions really haven't changed as much as perhaps we thought, but what has changed at the front is the revolving door of race leaders that we've had in the first 22 minutes of this race.
Yeah, and we really haven't seen this kind of a battle over the course of the rest of the season. I mean, it's been Pfeiffer or Golzar or Staffen kind of running away with it here at this point, and now we're really seeing a good battle.
Yeah, it's basically like separating the antelope from the rest of the herd here as the lions bear down on him. It's like you can get the leader by himself without any pressure from behind. You can focus entirely on just eating up their advantage. Coonan now is going to have to contend with some lap traffic. They pull over in that Lamborghini Huracan GT3. 1.4 seconds. Pfeiffer is down on his best lap as he had to follow Zach Coonan, but he's only half a second back. So they're still making very, very good time. Despite having to slow up. By the way, in the background, Ian Burleson in that 720. He has got big problems there. He has huge damage on his number 720 Orion Motorsports McLaren. This car is destroyed.
Yeah, that has got hefty, looks like left front damage on that McLaren. A little bit surprising. I wonder if he maybe picked that up coming down through the dipper or at that point, if that's where they picked it up. But that is a car that is in dire, dire need of assistance. They're going to be coming down to the pit lane here shortly. We check back in on the battle for P1. Coonan able to get a better run out of the corner. Kavanaugh has fallen back through the order here at this point, and now that has released Golzar to try to close on in.
I think that might have been because of the Burleson contact. They just kind of all had to big slow up at the top of the hill, so it's going to separate the front three. Gives Golzar an opportunity to focus entirely forward The next car back behind Lazarus Kavanaugh, as you pointed out, about 7 seconds back. Then it's Aaron Puckett 8/10ths back from that. As keeping our eye on the AM class lead, Julius Tan is second now. He's got some damage to the nose of his Lexus as well. And then what happened to the progress that was being made by, or was that? Winston Workman. He's also in pit lane. So that Optima Motorsport McLaren has come on down. There's no required pit stop here, so this must also be for crash damage.
Yeah, this has got to be crash damage here for Workman. That's the only thing that I really can imagine here at this point. But here we're going to check back in on the battle for the lead of the race here at the moment. Pfeiffer trying to get that run, but as you said earlier here, Kyle, that Lexus just seems to be so quick off of the acceleration points on the track that he's able to just keep him at bay.
Down Conrad Straight, speeds over 175 miles an hour. And almost all of Kunin's lead comes from Conrad Straight, but mostly in the first half of it. And then Pfeiffer spends the rest of the lap reeling him back in a place where he can't make a pass.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. And once again, I put a lot of that down to the designs of these cars. That Lexus is designed to be quick in a straight line. That Audi designed to be quick through the corners, although a little bit of understeer, forcing Kunin off the track, picking up a little bit of dirt. As there you see, this could be the attack for Pfeiffer.
Yeah, this is another great run. He gets the best run leaving Hell Corner here on the run up to Griffin's, but 15 minutes to go. Your laps are going to start to count down. Remember, it's about 2 minutes and 1 second a lap. So that's about, what is that, 7, 8 laps worth of time here, DJ? So not a lot of opportunities left if you're only good at one particular corner. Watch the braking here. This uphill section seems to be where the Audi is doing well.
Yeah, this is really where it starts to do well, coming up this point on the track. And I think that's why we saw Pfeiffer try to take that look going into Skyline to just see if he could put a little bit of force off there. A little bit of tire squeal, though, for Pfeiffer. That's going to put him on the back foot. I don't think he's going to have a chance to attack coming up the hill.
While these two continue to be absolutely nip and tuck here, how about 13th place? Mike Jensen and Michael Silver are in battle here. I think that is a battle behind them as well. Tyler Reed, no, that's a different car here. Silver, that's a couple cars on by. Mike Jensen in that Ferrari. This thing has seen battle today with the damage it's got on the front splitter.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. And Jensen now has to try to just figure out what's going on. That's some or is that Octon trying to make the, no, that's a lap car behind him there at that point in the BMW.
A little awkward. There's a bunch of cars mixed up here at the tail of the field. And I think that's Vlad Dola driving by, actually. 22nd, trying to salvage his day.
Yeah, Dola involved in an incident early on, trying to get himself back into order. Oh, big wiggle for that Ferrari from behind.
Yeah, got up onto the curbing on corner exit and had a bit of a wiggle, as you pointed out. All the while, things at the front seem to be the closest battles on the track, so we'll keep you there. Kunin and Pfeiffer absolutely scrapping for it here at Mount Panorama. 13 minutes to go, and again, a struggle in the final turn. He's going to have to go defensive. Here comes Pfeiffer with a big run down the front straightaway, DJ.
Pfeiffer going to look to the inside here in that Audi. Is he going to have enough? No, this is so tantalizingly close here for Luke Pfeiffer, just not able to get it to run. But again, Kunin going to run offline a little bit here as they get themselves into position. Let's see if he can maybe use the draft and get himself to go.
Yeah, again, that Lexus just leaves those right-hand corners so effectively. Pfeiffer chasing him up the hill here into the braking zone for Griffins. Watch that understeer, that Lexus looking a bit of a tighter line there through the right-hander, and this is a great battle here for the top spot.
Yeah, this is really, really good here. And again, Pfeiffer now into the cutting, trying to be able to find that a little bit and just poking his way this way and that, trying to see if he can get anything to go. But I've got to give credit here to Kunin. Really, with the exception of the first and last corner on the track, we are not seeing him make that many mistakes.
No, but those two mistakes might cost him this race win if he keeps doing them with how close Pfeiffer is. Big lift through Skyline here. Pfeiffer is on the tailpipes on the run down the mountain.
Oh, here he goes. And They've got a little bit of lap traffic in front of them. How is that going to play in here for Kunin? Let's see if anything happens. Kunin going to be screwing this BMW in front of him right now. Tries to get off the line. That's going to put him a little bit off. The BMW holding its line as now Kunin goes down to the inside. Here they go side by side. It looks like it didn't hurt him that much. He's still going to have breathing room over Pfeiffer.
And he actually, breathing room, that's the biggest lead he's had in 3 laps as he heads down the Conrad Straight, clears the BMW. Under 12 minutes to go now, and that number 10 Audi is in a bad spot. If he can't clear this BMW before the chase, and he won't, he's going to follow it through the rest of the lap. That's going to hurt his time. All the time that he had just made up is now gone. Oh, there's going to be contact.
Oh, contact there in the BMW, hard into the wall. Pfeiffer going to be on the back foot here with 11 minutes and 30 seconds to go. And Hamza Galzar says, thank you very, very much. Here we go, battle for P2.
Yeah, Galzar is back, and is he here to stay? Last time by was a 2:02.475. That was 0.3 quicker than even Kunin at the front of the field. Big slip, though, for the Aston, leaving Hill Corner.
All right, big slip there for him as he continues to have those problems over the track. But 11 minutes left to go. Galzar using the full advantage of that Aston Martin V12. And look at that thing close as they come up into Quarry Bend.
Yeah, he has got something magic with this Aston today. He got taken out of the lead by a lap car, and he is just fighting for a podium, but now fighting to get to the middle step of it. I don't think he can get to the top step unless he clears Pfeiffer and can still show pace despite lap traffic and things. But we'll see how it pans out through the cutting. And now he's just back to laser focus in that 14 as he has been all season.
Yeah, certainly in position here as he runs. Trying to see what he can do here at this point. And look at that Audi scamper away from him here at this point. He is going to just be losing time coming up and over the mountain. We saw this earlier on out of him. I'm not sure if that's a result of the damage that it could be on this Aston Martin V12 Vantage, or if it's a result of just the very construction of it. That Audi is just so quick.
Yeah, I think a bit of both. Again, Hamza, we joke about his teams being help me. We think because of this older Aston that is no longer, a current homologation. But you have to wonder if that Audi is just doing better because it doesn't have the damage that Hamza got in that crash in Griffin Bend at the beginning of the race with the lap car. Under 10 minutes, though, and Kunin was able to put some distance on Pfeiffer, 1.8 seconds. But Pfeiffer just ran a couple laps ago the best lap of the race, which was 0.3 better than Kunin. So I think that 10 might be the fastest car on the racetrack, but he is running out of laps to show it.
Yeah, running out of laps here to show it as he continues to try to just get himself into position. Kunin doing a great job. Pfeiffer, yeah, look at the gap here as they cross over 2 seconds and 9 minutes on this track. That is going to be very hard to make up.
Yeah, it is, but there is also the wild card of the lap traffic. It changed the lead once or maybe twice, so now you have to contend with some more of those cars. We started this race with 34. I count about 6 cars on the pit lane, so there's still many more that could go a lap down. With the pace these front runners have been setting, we could expect some more. By the way, deeper in the field, we've got Michael Silver and Mike Jensen battling here, although I think he just had an issue on the uphill, and Tyler Reed in the Operation Motorsport Nissan is close behind.
Yep, he is not too far. The lone Nissan in the field here running in 14th position. Oh, as Silver has another problem cutting through Skyline altogether.
Yeah, that was a straight line there. Tyler Reed in this Nissan GTR Nismo. This is a really neat car. We don't see a lot of these anymore, but love the Operation Motorsport colors on the side of it as well. And a little awkward there leaving Forest Elbow. Now it's a drag race, Ferrari versus Nissan up Conrad Straight.
All right, here as they go, that Nissan going to be down to the inside. Look at the damage there on the front of that Ferrari. You can really, really see it there at this point. Is here, I think that, yep, there goes the Nissan. He has got that 13th place position.
Back to second place. Galzar is just absolutely driving Pfeiffer crazy like a mosquito in his ear. Just can't swat him away quick enough. And all the while, that gap is staying fairly steady at around 2 seconds. Here comes Galzar with a poke of the nose through Conrad Straight. Look at the aggressive Aston. But that Audi's so good on the brakes.
Yeah, so very, very good. But Golzar starting to make it. Here comes that lap traffic. Oh, and that's going to scupper a chance for Golzar. But he's still going to look down to the inside, not able to make a play. Going to try to get his way a little bit more here as they go. He's going to keep working around here and waiting for that moment to take place.
All the while, Zach Coonan just saw him ahead. He was following McLaren. Look at all this lap traffic he's got to deal with. Headlights flashing. Please get out of the way. But they're not red and blue. No one's pulling over for the 15 so far today.
No, nobody is pulling over here at this point. They just want to be fighting everywhere on the track that they can. Coonan going to bring his way forward. Here they go. As he works his way around. We take a live look on board Hamza Golzar. More lap traffic. Is he going to be able to beat it before they get into Forest Elbow? Yes, he is.
And that was a pretty critical pass there. Had the lap traffic between him and Pfeiffer, that would probably be battled over. Once you insert a car between the fight, it's just really, really hard to do anything up the mountain. You're kind of stuck nose to tail until you get to the top at least.
Yeah, you really and truly are. You're just kind of on the back foot, not really able to get anything to go. Hamza Golzar, though, just trying to will that Aston Martin V12 a little bit more forward, trying to see if he is able to get anything and more lap traffic up ahead. This could be what he needs.
We're hearing from the pit and paddock that Luke Pfeiffer, his headset ran out of battery and he's running without sound right now. DJ, is there anything more challenging in a simulator than running without sound, other than running without a screen?
No, because here's the thing. We have to consider the fact that for a lot of these drivers in the sim, they're not going to have full motion rigs. They're not going to have the feedback coming through the pedals. And I've said this quite often, sim racing is a different sensory experience. You're not able to necessarily feel the yaw and the pitch of the car through your backside, but what you are able to do is hear it. The engine note, the tire squeal is cranked up as Pfeiffer spins.
Contact with Golzar there. They came together at a very critical point. Let's go back and see how that formulated, because we were riding on board with Pfeiffer. He slipped at the chase, and Golzar went to the inside. They made contact. They both kept it straight, but they lost even more time to Zach Coonan. Here's a look.
All right, so there you see the pressure right now as they go. He comes down into the chase. Golzar down to the inside. Was that a little bit of contact there? I couldn't entirely tell.
I don't think that there was contact to get him sideways, but once he was sideways, there was definitely contact. I don't think Golzar meant to get alongside him. He was prepared to follow Pfeiffer through the corner, and then they got to it, Pfeiffer slipped, and then they made contact. So I don't think there was anything egregious there, but just awkward, and it will give even more time to Coonan in that Lexus. As someone has stated earlier, that man dug a monster out of the ground in Zach Coonan, picking that Lexus for today. What a wise choice it seems to be.
Yeah, I mean, clearly it is a very, very good car here at this point. And Coonan now with a almost 5 second gap up at the front of the field. That is absolutely remarkable.
Yeah, that's great stuff there for Coonan. I want to jump back in here. This is Jason Ogden, who we haven't talked a lot about today. He's currently running 13th, just behind a quartet of AM-class competitors, but I wanted to pull him up and give him some action today as far as the viewership goes, because he's got one of our onboards there. I love this perspective, looking at the side versus looking straight on. You can kind of see the triple screen setup that he's got, and you see the damage he's got to the nose of the car as well. So he's been through the ringer once or twice today, but only has to make it another 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, not too long here at this point. Ogden trying to do everything that he can do to hold off that Ferrari from behind, but the Ferrari, not to be dissuaded, looks down to the inside, coming into Murray's corner, and there is Pfeiffer down into pit lane.
Yeah, that battle was good, but I needed to point this out before we lost it there, as the Ferrari does go by, that Pfeiffer has pulled the Audi onto pit road and will, and so has Golzar. Well, Golzar, where is he at? Uh-oh.
He's down in 5th.
And look at the damage he's got. I think they had another coming together there. The damage on that Aston is significantly more than it was a moment ago, and that is likely why he's down in P5, as looks like Lassen's going to go by. But those two cars were podium drivers for sure. Kavanaugh now promoted to 2nd in the number 94, and Aaron Puckett up to 3rd in the last 3 minutes of this race.
Man, oh man. And talk about a great swing of the day here for Aaron Puckett. We talked about his need to try to gain some points on Hamza Golzar. That's exactly what he's done here today. This couldn't have gone better for Aaron Puckett.
Yeah, looking again at the points. So it was Golzar, Staffen, Puckett, 51-43-40. With this swap, Aaron Puckett could very easily walk out of here with the championship lead if Golzar can't finish the race, and he is making a trip down pit lane. This is catastrophe for Golzar as far as his championship is concerned. And you see, is there a penalty? Oh no, but that's just pit lane applied there. So Golzar will bring the Aston to a halt.
There he goes down into pit lane, but here is Zachary Kunin, your leader, as he comes through Forest Elbow for what we believe will be the penultimate time. Bouncing off the wall in front of them is that Ferrari. Flash of the headlights indicating, ooh, that got a little bit hairy.
It sure did, and Kunin's going to try to get by this Ferrari sooner than later, so he can just focus on getting to the white flag. He's only a lap and a half away from calling victory here in round 3 of the season in that number 15 Lexus. And what a drive it has been for Kunin, with crazy defense from Hamza Golzar and from Luke Pfeiffer. But for now, he's 8 seconds ahead of Kavanaugh, and other than lap traffic, he doesn't have a lot of barriers left to go here.
Yeah, not able to do anything more, but now 1 lap to go as the white flag flies for Zachary Kunin. 1 more lap around Bathurst here as he goes.
Yeah, there's only 1 more lap. Only a handful of kilometers left in this race for Zach Kunin. As far as other battles on the racetrack, how about Julius Tan? We documented him a bit earlier in another one of the Lexuses, up to 8th place and now leading in the AM race, albeit with some other front-end damage on that car.
Yeah, and you know, he's able to nurse it around, and credit there to him to be able to do so. He clearly is able to put himself into a position where he doesn't feel as out of position with that car, and he's able to get itself forward.
Yeah, and Simon Hem-Peterson running second, and how about a podium in the future here for Tyler Reed in the Nissan GT-R. He has outlasted a whole handful of the rest of the AM class field, and he will be 3rd in AM for too much longer, given the race that he has had. But Zach Kunin now heading down the mountain for the last time today.
1 more time down through the hill here as they go. He's got a little bit more to try to get himself forward here as they go, trying to work his way. That's a car off to the outside, and that just goes to show you there is still danger lurking around every corner.
I didn't see what car that was, but not one of the front runners, I don't believe. But Zach Kunin, last time up the Conrad Straight, and that Lexus V8 screaming under the hood, as someone mentioned before, digging a monster out of the ground. What a wise choice to jump in this Lexus. This seems to have been the car to beat today with its amazing performance out of corners. It held off both an Audi and an Aston Martin DJ. And last corner for Kunin, he's going to win this race at Bathurst.
Kunin comes through the final corner as the number 15 gives us a little weave down to the inside. Fireworks and flames start to go off as Kunin wins in the Lexus.
And second place is going to belong to the Ferrari 296. Daniel Kavanaugh behind the wheel. Aaron Puckett in the Trace 3. Aston Martin is in the chase now. He's going to be on the podium as well. Job well done for him in just a nice, clean, tidy race, and sometimes that is the race to have. So Aaron Puckett will round the final corner and come home on the podium. And a driver I don't think we even mentioned today, Christian Saruda in the number 2 Porsche. How about a top 5 for this car? Just another quiet day. But sometimes being quiet and not being talked about is a good thing, because it means you just had a very solid afternoon.
Well, I would much rather have a quiet day than a noisy one behind the wheel of a race car, and I'm sure here for the pure racing driver of Christian Saruda, that's exactly what he was hoping for. 4th place is a great result here. Heck, I'd argue that just keeping the thing off of the wall is a great result here at Bathurst. As Martin Lassens also comes down now into Murray's Corner, the last corner on the track. That's going to be your 5th place finisher, as we still wait for Clark and Tan, the last drivers here, to come over. There was Clark. Remember, he had that spin earlier to be able to recover back into 6th place. This has been a remarkable drive for the 92.
Did an excellent job, Bill Clark did, recovering from that crash. Remember, he basically had to sit and wait for the entire field to go by. And once he did that, he was able to turn back around and get the ship righted. But 6th place for the number 92. But for Julius Tan in the Lexus, despite the damage on the nose of this number 73, this is, well, they've traded spots now. Simon Hem-Petersen has gotten around him on the last lap, and it should be a Ferrari victory in the AM category with a mistake from Tan. He's 9 seconds, 10 seconds down on his best lap and nursing a very, very damaged Lexus. Has he got a fuel? No. Still got fire, but just very, very slow. And Tyler Reed is going to take second.
Yeah, he is. There goes Reed up and on by him. I wonder if that was maybe a miscommunication between the two, if there was something there that was preordained. Is he going to lose the podium here? Because that's Jensen right behind him.
Well, not. Oh, that was tight.
That was very tight. But it looks like he's going to be able to hold on to it, but my goodness gracious.
Yeah, that was an interesting one for sure. There's your winner, and here's a look at the race results here, DJ. What a battle, what a race here at Mount Panorama. This place always puts on a good show.
It always puts on a great show. It always delivers. And again, look at that disparity up through the top 10. Lexus, Ferrari, Aston Martin, Vantage, Porsche, Nissan. Really, really great to see everybody coming out, trying some new cars around here. It's a remarkable achievement. And 20 laps around this circuit, if you just finish those 20 laps, feather in your cap, good sirs.
Yeah, and Zach Coonan, that's going to be a great points day for the number 15. I think for Hamza Golzar, 15th, that's going to hurt in the championship. Puckett might be taking the lead of that. Simon Hem-Petersen, a great race, though, in his Ferrari, will take the win in the AM category here, DJ, as we're going to wrap things up here shortly. And round 3 of the championship was really exciting here at Mount Panorama at Bathurst, but the next 2 rounds are going to be equally as interesting. Suzuka for round 4, and of course we'll finish things off at Brands Hatch Circuit. That place is like a bull ring as far as road racing is concerned, and if we saw drama today, those next 2 races will certainly have something on tap.
Yeah, you're definitely going to see drama at Suzuka, another place where it is very difficult to overtake, even in GT3 machinery. But that race is going to be in 2 weeks' time, so make sure to turn back in here on all of the channels to be able to see that. But in the meantime, thank you to Kyle Beer, who's joined me here in the booth, as well as everybody behind the scenes, Robbie Montanolo, Tara Bedell, and the whole team at SRO for helping to put this on. My name is DJ Clark. Until we see you on the track, thanks for watching.